Well, good evening, everyone. Another week, Tuesday conversation coming your way. Can't believe, again, another week has come and gone. It's getting really exciting. We're getting really close. So here's the numbers. 14 days is what you have left to register to vote. October 9th is the deadline, 14 days from now. So if you haven't registered to vote, we'll talk a little bit more about registering a little bit later. 27 days until the polls open for early voting, October 22nd through November 2nd. Again, I always encourage everyone to early vote. It's so much easier. You can go to any polling location in the county, go in, cast your vote, get your sticker, and carry on with your day. And it typically doesn't take that long, although we're hoping to change that. And I'll talk about that also a little bit later in our conversation tonight. And 42 days until Election Day. So it's really winding down. We have a short period of time left. We're really grinding away, going to talk to people, meeting the people in Montgomery County, talking to them about my message, about what I want to do and bring to Montgomery County. And it's been a great pleasure to talk to everybody, but we're really driving home, and it's going to be a hard run to the end. And I want to thank every one of you for coming along on this ride with me. And it's going to be a great 42 days, let me tell you. So again, 27 days till early voting starts. I can't stress it enough. Early vote. Go on October 22nd and early vote, and then you have all the time in the world to get all your friends and neighbors to go vote. And again, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But here we go. I had a really good week, and the thing I really want to talk about is I was invited to sit on a panel and answer some questions for the NAMI meeting that was held this evening, the National Alliance for Mental Illness, something that's near and dear to me. This is for mental health services. This is something that's so important. I can tell you right now, we have failed ourselves when it comes to mental health issues. We need to break the stigma. Let me tell you something right now, guys. You are not too big, you are not too strong, and you're not too manly to talk about if you have an issue. If it's depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, alcohol addiction, drug addiction, it doesn't matter. Talk to somebody. If you're struggling with something, don't be afraid to talk to somebody or pick up the phone and call a hotline. I just can't stress it enough. We have so many issues in this country with mental health issues, and Montgomery County is no different. When you put it in perspective, and we have 22 vets commit suicide every day, that's a tragedy. We have a law enforcement officer that commits suicide every 70 hours in our country, and this is too much. We have bullying at school. We have, youth and adults in the LGBTQ community that are harassed and bullied, and they deal with anxiety and depression. And it really makes a big difference whether they come from a home that's accepting of them or a home that's not. So these are the things that contribute to our suicide rates. By the way, the number 2 cause of death in young people between the ages of 10 and 24 in our country is suicide. So we need to take a hard look at that and really think about that, because we needed to be taking care of each other. Now, I mentioned these things in some critical groups that are at the most risk, but the truth is anyone can be affected by a mental health issue. And I truthfully challenge anyone in Montgomery County to try to find a family that doesn't have some mental health issues somewhere in there, because it can affect anybody. It doesn't care how affluent you are. It doesn't care how poor you are. None of that matters. So we really need to have a national conversation, and we can certainly start it here at the local level. I'm never going to be afraid to talk about it. I'm always going to advocate for more attention to mental health issues, because people deserve, especially our veterans and our first responders and our law enforcement who see these terrible things every day. And these things build up, and we have to learn to talk about it, because we have to break that stigma. Because once we start breaking that stigma, we can actually address the problem. We shouldn't be afraid to bring something up and worry about losing our jobs or getting that promotion. We should be able to speak up and get the help we need, so that we can continue to deal with it and move on with our life. Anyway, I just can't stress enough. It was my honor to sit on that panel. I really thought the questions from the audience were stimulating. It was great to see law enforcement there. By the way, Precinct 1 has a mental health division in their law enforcement. There's 11 members of that division, and they take care of the entire county, which is absolutely a great start. But again, if I do numbers, that's one officer for 53,000 people, for every 53,000 residents of Montgomery County. And I guarantee we actually have more issues than that, but we have to be able to talk about it. So let's start that conversation and not let it go. All right, let me get back to early voting. Registering to vote, sorry. Registering to vote. You have 14 days, 2 weeks left to register to vote so you can vote in the election on November 6th. And I can't stress enough, if you're somebody that's 65 or older, you should have received an application for a ballot in the mail. Fill it out and send it back so you can get that ballot sent right to your house. If you haven't registered to vote, again, you can call either the party headquarters, the Republican or Democratic Party. The Republican Party headquarters is on Metcalf and Conroe. The Democratic Party headquarters is on North Fraser and Conroe. Either one of those will have VDVRs that can register you to vote and get you taken care of and set up. They'll be happy to do it. You can also go to Election Central on Airport Road out by the airport in Conroe, just next to the Lone Star Convention Center, and fill your application out there for your voter registration, and they can take care of you right there on the spot. Those are the best ways to do it because it gets taken care of. You never know what happens to something in the mail or any other way. It's just the best way to ensure that you're registered is to do it one of those two ways. You go through one of the parties with the VDVRs or actually go to Election Central. Or quite frankly, call the party offices and they will come to your house and register you to vote. It's not that big of a deal. Just do it. And why do I stress this so much? I really stress it because, you know, Texas is dead last in voter turnout, especially in midterm elections. About 1 in 3 Texans actually go to the polls and vote in a midterm election. And we really need to change that. We are tied with Washington, D.C. and the worst voter turnout ever, by the way. And, oh, by the way, Washington, D.C. doesn't even have any representation in Congress. So does that tell you something? We're the second largest state in this country, and we have dead last in voter turnout. That should be appalling to everybody that's listening to this. So let's change it. Let's make a difference in this election. And like I've always said, I want people to participate in our democratic process. So get registered and go vote. I don't care which way you vote, to be honest with you. I just want participation. I want us to be electing our officials with a majority of the population and not a minority, because that's how our government is supposed to work, and that is the vision that our founding fathers had when we set up all these processes of electing officials. And obviously things change throughout time, especially with senators and how they're elected today. They weren't actually elected at the beginning, but again, participate in the process. Take the time to go vote, and actually it doesn't take that long. And you're contributing and doing your civic duty. So keep that in mind. So again, let's go out there and have a great time these last 42 days. We're really going to work hard. We really want to reach out to people. Come to my events. Get on my email list. Go to my website, jstittleburg.com, or go to my Facebook page, jstittleburg, the number 4, County Judge. And follow my page and get on the email list. We send out an email at the beginning of every week with all the events we're going to be at for that week, and come to them. Come ask me questions. I encourage you to come ask me questions. I will answer any of your questions. I'm always open to answering your questions. But again, we're going to have another great week coming up. It's going to fly by before you know it. We'll be back next Tuesday. But until then, I'll see you out there.